Warren Buffett once remarked that if he lost everything tomorrow, he would not be worried. He would simply go back to the basic principles that built his first million. The reality is that $0 is not your enemy. The real enemy is a concept called financial gravity. This is the invisible force that keeps most people grounded in a cycle of paycheck to paycheck living. It is the weight of debt, the cost of status, and the friction of bad habits. To escape this gravity, you do not need a miracle. You need a specific framework that treats capital as a tool rather than a goal. Most individuals spend their entire lives fighting the wrong battle because they do not understand that wealth is a byproduct of a specific type of mental software. If you are starting from nothing, or if you feel like your progress is stalled, it is likely because you are operating on a corrupted set of instructions. The reason 99% of people fail to rebuild or even start is due to a limitation in cognitive bandwidth. When you are stressed about money, your brain moves into a state of high alert. This creates a scarcity mindset. In this state, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term planning and logical reasoning, essentially shuts down. You become reactive. You start making decisions based on the next 30 days instead of the next 30 years. This is why people in financial trouble often make the worst financial decisions, like taking out high-interest loans or buying things they cannot afford to impress people they do not like. They are trying to solve a long-term problem with a short-term dopamine hit. This is further complicated by the crab bucket effect. When you decide to change your financial trajectory, the people around you will often try to pull you back down. They do not do this out of malice, but because your growth highlights their own stagnation. They will tell you to be realistic. They will tell you that the system is rigged. They will encourage you to spend your small wins on a night out or a new car. If you do not recognize these psychological traps, you will remain trapped in the gravity well forever, regardless of how hard you work. To understand how to break free, we have to look at the physics of capital. Think of your financial life as a compound interest engine. In the beginning, the engine is cold. It requires a massive amount of energy just to move the pistons a single inch. This is the stage of escape velocity. In physics, escape velocity is the minimum speed an object must reach to break free from the gravitational pull of a planet. In finance, your escape velocity is the moment your passive gains begin to outpace your active expenses. Most people quit during the first 10% of the journey because they do not see immediate results. They put in 1,000 units of effort and receive only 1 unit of reward. They assume the math is broken. However, the math of compounding is backloaded. The real gains happen at the end of the curve, not the beginning. If you start at zero, your only goal is to fuel the engine. This requires a ruthless focus on increasing the gap between what you earn and what you consume. Every dollar you save is not just a piece of paper. It is a soldier in your private army. If you spend that dollar on a coffee or a subscription you do not use, you are essentially executing a soldier before the war even begins. Consider the story of two individuals, James and Robert. Both found themselves at age 35 with zero savings due to a business failure. James focused on optics. He wanted to prove to his peers that he was still successful. He took a high-paying job, but immediately financed a new SUV and moved into a luxury apartment. His expenses rose to meet his income. James was working harder than ever, but his compound interest engine was stalled. He had no margin for error. On the other hand, Robert adopted the Buffett framework. He moved into a small, functional studio. He drove a 10-year-old sedan that he paid for in cash. Robert focused on one thing: acquiring productive assets. Every spare cent went into low-cost index funds and high-yield opportunities. For the first 3 years, James looked more successful. He had the clothes, the car, and the lifestyle. But Robert was building a fortress. By year 5, the interest on Robert's investments began to pay for his basic living expenses. Robert had reached financial escape velocity. James, meanwhile, was one missed paycheck away from a total collapse. The difference between them was not their talent or their starting point. It was their understanding of the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is about income and display. Being wealthy is about the assets that earn while you sleep. As you begin to implement this framework and see your first few $1,000s accumulate, you will encounter the great filter. This is a series of traps designed to keep the middle class from becoming truly free. The first trap is consumerism. As your bank account grows, your brain will scream at you to reward yourself. You will feel an intense urge to upgrade your life. This is lifestyle creep. It is the primary reason why doctors and lawyers often have no net worth. They are running on a treadmill that keeps moving faster. The second trap is social pressure. Your friends and family will notice your discipline, and they will call it deprivation. They will ask why you are being so cheap. They will invite you to expensive dinners and vacations. This is where most people fail. They value the approval of others more than their own future freedom. You must realize that true status does not come from what you wear or what you drive. It comes from the peace of mind that results from having refusal power. This is the ability to say no to a boss you dislike, a job that drains you, or a social social circle that does not align with your values. Without a bulletproof vest, which is a significant cash reserve, you are a slave to your circumstances. To rebuild from zero, you must follow a logical blueprint. The first step is to establish your bulletproof vest. This is not just an emergency fund. It is a psychological shield. You need 6 months of living expenses in a liquid, boring savings account. This money is not for investing. It is for buying you the ability to think clearly. Once you have this vest, you can operate without the scarcity mindset. You can take calculated risks because you know a mistake will not put you on the street. The second step is to audit your cognitive bandwidth. Remove every recurring expense and social obligation that does not contribute to your long-term goal. This creates the mental space required to find new ways to increase your primary income. Buffett did not get wealthy by saving pennies. He got wealthy by allocating capital into high-return vehicles. You must do the same with your time. The third step is to build your refusal power. Start saying no to small luxuries so you can eventually say yes to big opportunities. Invest in your own skills and then invest in assets that have a history of compounding over decades. Ignore the trends. Ignore the noise. Focus on the engine. Building wealth from zero is not a sprint. It is a long-distance race where the first half is spent in total obscurity. Most people are unwilling to be the person driving the old car or living in the modest house, while their peers are projecting a fake image of success. But the Buffett framework teaches us that the only way to win is to play a different game entirely. You are not competing with your neighbor. You are competing with your own impulses. You are fighting against the natural tendency to consume everything you produce. If you can master your own psychology, the math will take care of itself. The laws of compounding are as predictable as the laws of gravity. If you put in the fuel and keep the engine running, you will eventually reach a point where your money does more work than you do. This path requires a level of discipline that most people simply do not possess. They want the outcome without the process. They want the harvest without the season of planting. But you are here because you recognize that the old ways of thinking have failed you. You are ready to stop being a consumer and start being an owner. This is not just about money. It is about reclaiming your time and your dignity. It is about ensuring that you are never again at the mercy of a changing economy or a fickle employer. I want to end this by asking you to look at your life through the lens of a 20-year contract. If you could guarantee your future self total financial independence by making one significant sacrifice today, would you do it? Most people would say yes, but very few will actually follow through. I want you to commit right now. Go to the comments and write down one specific luxury or habit you are going to sacrifice for the next 12 months to fuel your engine. Whether it is dining out, a new tech gadget, or a subscription you don't need, name it. Make this a public contract with your future self. The journey from zero to freedom starts with a single disciplined decision. The math is ready when you are.